Hello all and welcome back. So in this video, I would like to discuss that what are all the things which we need to take care when we will be designing a good big data system. Now, before we deep dive into any of the big data technologies, I would like to make sure that we are spending enough time in clearing out many things which will help you to have a strong foundation in your big data journey. So when I say that we have to define a overall good system, what I mean is that a system which is designed to handle large scale data, effectively ensuring scalability, reliability, and fault tolerance. Now, in the last video, we saw that how we will be choosing distributed system to handle our big data problems, right? Now, in that, the very first thing which we need to take care of is the scalability. The problem which we face in our big data systems, they should be they should be in such a way that they can grow to handle the increasing amount of data or users without any significant performance loss. So, if let's say we have the case where a company like Amazon, it is having its sale, right? Now, during sale, of course, million of new users or basically companies will be visiting our website simultaneously. A good scalable system will ensure that website doesn't crash and we are able to continue to process the orders effectively even under heavy load, right? So anytime there is a sale on Amazon, be it Black Friday or any other major sale, a good big data system which has been defined, which in a way in Amazon, of course, will be able to handle the increased rush, right? Now, majorly, it is going to be of two types. The first one will be storage scalability. Now, whenever there would be an increase, there will surely be an increase in the size of data getting generated, right? So, we should have a overall handling such that increased data can be stored. And the second thing is going to be processing or computation stability. Now, this again is of course a lot self-explanatory. We saw that how on our data we will majorly be doing these two operations. So the ability to process these larger data set, process the larger data sets faster by adding more compute machines. So we are going to see each and every of these things going forward. You don't have to worry. You just have to understand that how this is one of the requirement that a system which I am designing, it should be able to process these large data sets, right? Now let's move on to the next thing and to just explain that why this scalability matter. A big data system deal with ever growing data volume, right? So scalability ensures that they can handle these all things without having any significant hit on the performance. The second thing which we all need to make sure or take care is the reliability and fault tolerance. In the last video, we saw that how we will be choosing distributed system as our system of choice to make sure that we can handle the big data, right? But in that, as there were multiple machines involved, it should be continue to operate the way it is operating, even if some component fail, right? So the basic thing here is that it should continue to work or operate even if some component fails. Now, one thing to note here, of course, a distributed system by the design is lot more fault tolerant than a monolithic system. Just to understand, if you have a single laptop, of course, if that dies, then your whole system is down. You cannot do anything, right? In a distributed system, though, we have to still make sure that if any of the system in the cluster dies, then it should not have any effect in our overall working, right? So for example, let's say when, and we are going to see this more as we move forward, let's say if there is a system which is handling the overall uh, I would say use case for a big data, and we can think of, let's say, a grocery chain or something. If let's say one branch database fails, right? Let's say there's a grocery chain which have multiple branches. If one branch database fails, then it should not affect all the other branches in the country or overall. And that is what we will say that it's a reliable and a fault tolerant system, right? How it is achieved is something which we are going to see as we move forward. And the overall technologies which we will use to handle those, namely the Hadoop, Spark, all these are defined, or I would say designed with all these requirements in mind. Okay. So that is the second thing, which is again very, very important. The next thing is the cost effectiveness. Again, as we are dealing with lots of data and lots of systems, we should be make sure that there is a balance of performance and scalability with cost, right? So system should balance performance and scalability with cost. The real reason, or I would say justification for that, is that if you are, let's say, having a very small startup, or if you have some problem where the data is very high, the cost of solving that particular problem should not in a way exceed the benefit, right? So let's say if storing the big data or any of the working, it is be very costly, then of course you will not be a lot interested in solving that particular problem, right? So the way we normally do that is by using commodity or cheap hardwares, right? So we have to make sure that our overall big data technologies, right, are such that they can work with the cheap available hardware as well, so that whenever we are storing or processing the data, we are good to do the same, right? The last one in this is the security and data privacy. With so many machines involved and everything, we have to make sure that the data is safe from unauthorized access, and all the compliance with and regulations are actually maintained. Okay, so this becomes a lot important in companies like I have worked at Goldman Sachs, which is a bank. Now there, let's say if we are using some cloud provider, and again we are going to discuss about these in the next video. Let's say if someone is providing us with the solution for our big data, then we have to make sure and ensure that the data security and privacy should be maintained, right? So here we have to make sure that data is saved from unauthorized access. With so many machines and everything in the play, our system should be robust enough that all these things are taken care of. Now, again, these are the few things which we have to take care of. Now, these are very important to build a good, strong foundation. So, tomorrow, when I will explain or introduce Hadoop to you, you will understand that how it is taking care of all these things and why they are important as well going forward, right? So these are the few considerations which we will put into picture when we are designing our big data solutions, right? So as I told in the very first class, big data is the problem and the solution as well. So the very first one is scalability, again very important. Second is reliable and fault tolerant. So if we are coming up with a solution, it should not fail to operate if some of the component fails. The next is cost effectiveness. And the last one is security and data privacy. So these are the major one. Yes, there can be other consideration as well. But if you are making sure that these are fulfilled, then we can go ahead and keep that technology to work on our big data problem. Okay. So cool everyone. I hope that is clear. So in the next class, we will now move forward and learn about the on-premise versus cloud. Okay.